I'm Lee Morrison and welcome back to Bespoke Addict YouTube channel. I'm going to be discussing today further exotic skins. There is no crocodile and there's no alligator in this series. That was covered in the previous two episodes. And these are the sort of the more unusual, the less obvious or even much rarer skins. There's quite a few. What I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly whiz through what we've got to show you, and then I'm going to zoom the camera in incredibly close. You'll be able to see my hands move in, but you won't be able to see my face. And of course you'll get close-ups of the skin. I'm working alone, so I can't keep jumping up and down to zoom in and zoom out, so we'll do them in one take. So this is the first one. This is absolutely remarkable skin. This skin is 1786 Russian Reindeer. Now this came from a shipwreck. The ship was wrecked in 1786. It sunk to the bottom of the ocean and the skin survived underwater for 200 years and it was recovered. The skins were bought by George Cleverly. We'll talk further about that in a few minutes when we zoom in. So we've got a very close-up shot of the 1786 Russian Reindeer skin. It's quite unusual. It's lumpy. The surface is not smooth. The original tanners put like this. It's called the cross hatching. You can probably see the little, the little crisscross squares around the heel there. All of the skin had that. Everywhere, but it's been submerged in the water for 200 years. It's left the skin with this rather sort of lumpy appearance. It's quite lumpy. It's impossible to fake. There are some Russian reindeer skins out there that have got they're made to look like this skin. They're not really faking it. They're made to look like it. They've got this cross hatching, the little crisscross effect, but it's very, very smooth. It doesn't have this lumpy, slightly wrinkled appearance. That's happened through its submergence in water all this time. It is a truly remarkable skin. As I say to you, it was recovered from the shipwreck in 1973, and Prince Charles is actually the Duchy of Cornwall. This wreckage was off the coast of Cornwall, and Prince Charles gave permission to recover the wreckage, and George Cleverly bought this remarkable skin from the divers, from the recovery team, and the Cleverly company still have quite a lot of this skin left, and they can make you items from a watch strap to a shoe like this, or a bag, whatever you choose. It's generally bespoke items only, and it's truly unique, and obviously eventually the supply will run out, and when it's gone, it's gone. Prince Charles actually had the first pair. This was part of the deal. He had the first pair of bespoke shoes made in this skin, and he still wears them today. He wore them quite recently on a visit to Cuba, and the Cleverly company were thrilled to see that. But it really is magnificent. It's bizarre. It's unusual. You would arguably say it's not the prettiest skin. It's quite lumpy, and it isn't a smooth skin. But a lot of exotics are not. So anyway, let's move on. What else have we got? This is fascinating. This is made by Foster & Son. This is King Cobra. As I say to you, you won't be able to see the detail, but we'll zoom in a minute. So we've got King Cobra, made by Foster & Son, and sometime in the 1970s. It's a little bit dry. I haven't had a chance to moisturise some of these skins before bringing them on camera, but notice the differences in sizes. The scales are a lot bigger. Certainly down here the scales are rather large, and running up into the heel area they're rather tiny. That's more typical of snake skins. The scale size varies. As I say to you, this skin's a little bit dry. If I were to have moisturised it before I brought it on camera, it would be a lot richer. There'd be a bit more red showing through. But it's a most unusual skin for a bespoke maker like Foster & Son to be producing. It's probably more American in style, but this is an English maker, made by a fairly well-known client. I've got a lot of his shoes. When the gentleman died, I bought his shoe collection. Most of them were much more traditional, but there was just this one pair that stood out as completely different. Got Teju lizard, fascinating. And we've also got Iguana, two lizard skins but separate species, and we'll zoom in and have a good look at the differences between the two. Now, if I put them very close together, obviously you can see this one's Teju lizard, and the caps and the lace area on these, that's Iguana. The Teju, it's got tiny little, the scales are much more oblong. they're not round. And the iguana, the scales, notice they're much rounder in appearance. They're very similar texture. You know, they're quite tough and durable skins, quite flexible. And this shoe's from about 1950. It's rather old, and this one's even older. It's from the late 1930s. They're both American. These exotic skins are a very American taste. What else have we got here? More snake. This is Anaconda, magical skin, really beautiful. And these are like, I wear these as evening shoes actually, instead of wearing patent leather, because they've got such a shine about them. And the unusual thing about Anaconda is every single scale is largely uniform. Snake skins can be very uneven, and the scales are larger and smaller, but Anaconda is beautiful. You know, like I say, it's actually quite discreet as snake skins go. It's a very discreet shoe, and it does make a beautiful evening shoe. I wear this with black tie. We've got more shark. I believe this is Nassau shark. Very tough and durable skin, completely different. This one is made by an English maker, Alan McAfee, in the 60s. This is shark. Now it's very wrinkly. Once again, it's a very tough skin, very hard, difficult to damage, difficult to scratch. And it does absorb moisturiser quite easily, but these type of skins don't lend themselves well to polishing. Yeah, they're so wrinkly, the polish tends to clag in the pores and in the creases. So I wouldn't recommend using traditional polish on any exotics, whether it be alligator, crocodile, or the snake, lizard. The polish just clags. But moisturisers, whether it be a neutral, clear moisturiser, on this one I use black. As I say, it's that one's shark. It's totally remarkable, but a lot more flexible and comfortable than it looks, but difficult to damage. And this is a 1967 John Lobb. That's kangaroo skin. Much finer, much more delicate, and it's a soft skin, very soft. And kangaroo's very resistant to drying out. It simply just doesn't dry out however much you neglect it, and it doesn't crack. It's a delicate skin, so you'd easily be able to scratch it and tear it. Now what's happened with this particular pair, the lining, sharp-eyed will be able to see it's slightly wrinkled around the edges here. There's something wrong, and that's because the lining has rotted, gone hard, and it's gone hard and it's flaked away. I will have to reline this pair of shoes at some point. It'll be a fiddly and awkward job, but definitely worth it. But that just shows you how the kangaroo section has stayed very flexible, and this has gone, the lining, which is just calf, and it's gone very dry, and it's degraded. The whole shoe would have gone like that had they not been kangaroo. But it will be a fiddly job to repair and reline this shoe, but when it's got a new lining, which is all stitched along this edge, the shape will be restored. Because it's lost the integrity of the lining holding it together, it looks a bit of a mess, but nonetheless it's a gorgeous skin, a gorgeous shoe. And Camel, not sure the maker, but camel skin, very deeply textured, very tough, quite a hard skin, reasonably flexible. You know, it's not as soft as regular calf, but it is flexible. It's resistant to cracking. Once again, this one's it's made in the 60s, I think, and it's an English shoe. I'm not sure of the maker. But bison and buffalo looks a little bit similar in texture, but I'm pretty sure this one's camel. And what else have we not looked at? Oh yes, this is wonderful. These are made by Foster and Son. It's a bespoke shoe. This is shell Cordovan, and this is another. It's another shell Cordovan. The skins are slightly different. We'll look at them in closer focus, but wonderful skins. This is an English shoe. It's made by Foster and Son. In fact, they're both English. The other one's George Cleverly, and they're both shell Cordovan. The Foster one's slightly shinier, but it is an awful lot older. I think that one's from 1975, and this one's much newer. It's less than 10 years old, and Cordovan's unusual. It comes from it's the rear end, the rump of a horse, and it's quite a fibrous skin, and it's very, very smooth, and it's incredibly tough and strong. It's difficult to polish. It doesn't really absorb moisturizers, and this polish is quite difficult on Cordovan. You can polish it, but what you're supposed to do is keep it clean and rub the skin with. You're supposed to literally rub the skin with a deer bone. The deer bone's quite greasy, it's quite oily, and it leaves an oily surface which can be buffed. As I say, with Cordovan, you're not really supposed to be using traditional polish, but it's incredibly tough, very, very smooth. And it's quite flexible. It's a comfortable skin, but it's difficult to damage and scratch, unlike calf. And there's a couple more I just wanted to look at, and it's usually used for gloves, and that is Peccary. Now, you can't really see it on that one, the glove's perforated, but we've got 3 pairs here. These 3 are genuine skins. This third one, it's a fake. It's been made to look like Peccary. These are bizarre. Peccary is like a little. It's a small hog type animal found in South America. Now, if you look very, very closely, if I just get the angle of the camera right, you'll be able to see these tiny little holes. They come in. These holes, they're from bristles on the animal's back, and they come in a series of 3. And this one's Peccary. This one's Peccary. It's less easy to see because the skin's been perforated, but it's possible we might be able to sort of see it just on this edge bit here. The holes are in series of 3, and there's yet another one. And because of the colour, can't really see that one. And we have this one, which is this one's a fake. Let me just pop this glove on. It's a bit scruffy because I wear it pretty much every day. I use them for driving, and you can see the tiny little holes in the skin. It's covered in holes, but they've been punched in to make it look similar to this one. This is a much more desirable skin. This is a genuine skin. Let me just bring it a little closer to the camera. There's those little tiny holes. They're natural, and these have been punched. So I think that's the last of the exotic skins now. I'm Lee Morrison. This is Bespoke Addict YouTube channel. If you've enjoyed this episode, then please give us a thumbs up, and perhaps subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.